Now, the iPad tablet computer drove people wild on release, even though buyers didn't really know how they were going to use the machine. But it has found uses in areas that perhaps even the makers wouldn't have envisaged. Each new market launch around the world is accompanied by a vuvuzela style fanfare of publicity. And is the story any different in the UAE, we're asking? And to find out, we're delighted to have in the studio with us Ashish Panjabi, COO of Jacky's group of companies. Good morning, Ashish. How are you today?
Good, Malcolm. Good to be here again.
Excellent. We'll find out your views on the market and the going forward in just a moment. But Ashish, talk us through the launch day here for the iPad. How frenetic was it, and how many did you sell on the first day?
Well, it was crazy. I mean, we literally, the issue was getting enough of them, just because it wasn't officially launched over here by Apple back then, and it still isn't. So it was a matter of getting the stock from the US, flying it in, and selling it. And it was as many pieces as you could get were out. I mean, you never had enough of it at launch date.
Was it tricky to get hold of the pieces? I mean, how were they allocated?
It was. I mean, you were paying a premium for it. Quite honestly, we were paying more than the US selling price just to secure the stock, because you weren't going to get 50 pieces, 100 pieces, 200 pieces at the price that Apple advertised. You had to pay actually more than that just to get the stock in and just to fulfill demand over here.
How did you do it? Did you have to fly over and buy them at a retail outlet?
Well, yeah, we had people in the States buying it for us and shipping it to us. So you've got all of that, plus you pay the shipping costs, the duties, and everything else that goes with it.
So when you were selling them on your first day here, what percentage more than the US retail price were you managed to get them out at?
Well, they would have been at least 40 to 50% more expensive.
Yeah. And how many did you sell on that first day?
It was, I think, hundreds of units in the first couple of weeks, yeah.
So where are we now? Has the price come down, and how many have you moved?
Well, the prices have come down now, just because more and more countries got availability of the iPad as time went on. It was only in the US for 2 months. Now you've got it in many other parts of the world. So the supply situation did catch up. Apple was on a huge back order for many weeks. They now ship it to you on the same day if you buy it off their website. And we've seen, as a result, the prices come down to a level where it's probably a lot more reasonable than it was 4, 5, 6 months ago.
Reasonable? Are we on par with what they're being sold for in markets like the US, Hong Kong?
Not yet. The reason is that Apple hasn't introduced it officially in the Middle East yet. So that means we pay the warranty cost, we pay the shipping and the duties to still bring it in over here.
How many pieces have you sold to date?
Well, when we compare it with our PC, with the notebook, netbook, and tablet segment, we've combined the three into one category now. It's running at about 7 to 8% of sales of that category combined.
Do you not know how many iPads you've sold?
It's going to be in the thousands.
What is the price then at the moment for the larger machine, say the 3G?
It would be close to about 4,000 dirhams at the moment for the 3G Wi-Fi.
Is it coming down gradually? Are you bringing down the price?
It has been.
Yeah.
I mean, the same model would have been close to about 6,000 at launch. So we've come down about 30-35% since then.
I guess the key question is, are people buying this on top of their other computers, or are they sacrificing something else to be able to buy the iPad? Are you seeing a sort of reduction in sales, either desktop, laptop, netbooks?
Well, it's been an interesting one because there's been this whole battle when it started as to what was the use of the iPad, and then you sort of alluded to this in your introduction as well. As we moved on, you've now got this debate of content consumption versus content creation. And the thinking has been that you use your notebook for content creation and use the tablet for content consumption. I personally don't think that's going to last very long, because I travel around. I've been on business trips with 6 or 7 business people, and I've seen 4 of them or 5 of them are carrying a tablet instead of a notebook now on a trip. Fine, they're doing their email on it, but you're starting to see a lot more as far as apps coming on there for content creation. And it's a secondary device. You're not going to give up your laptop because of this, but you're still going to use it to complement it. And it's something that maybe eats slightly into the netbook segment, but At the same time, there were probably some people who would have never taken a netbook who've decided, okay, I'll take a tablet. So it probably grows the segment for us overall instead of eating into anything.
Now, I heard recently that an upmarket car maker is actually removing DVD players from the rear headrests in their cars, and they're replacing them with an iPad docking station. Obviously, an inventive use. I mean, I'd always assumed that sort of the lack of a USB port would actually limit what you could do with them here. Have you had any mention of the fact that it hasn't got a USB port?
Well, this is where the competitive devices are coming in now. You've got Samsung launching the Galaxy S later this month. We should have it at GITEX, which has got a lot more in terms of connectivity. We've seen a lot of other brands talk about tablets coming out. Acer has got them coming out later this year in different form factors, different sizes, the 5-inch, 7-inch and 10-inch segment. So we are going to see a lot more competition for Apple in the next couple of months. And we start to see other platforms as well. It's now the Android devices, it's the Migo devices, it's the Windows devices coming in against the Apple devices.
So do I read into that? You say that the lack of the USB port is an issue for iPad? Well,
this is the way Apple works. You take it or you leave it, but somehow people take it. And this is the wire factor that Apple's had. Their argument for it has been that the fewer devices you've got connecting, the less chance you've got of viruses coming in, conflicts coming in, hardware crashes coming in. They want to keep it as closed as possible at the moment.
Which version has been selling the best? Where have you seen the most demand?
The 64GB, definitely.
And is that with Wi-Fi or?
The 3G when it came in, but initially it was the Wi-Fi because you didn't have the 3G at launch.
Well, so what are your projections for the slate and tablet sales compared to netbooks and laptops?
Well, at the moment, it's about 7% of our sales. We expect this to probably come in at about 10 or 12% moving forward as we start to get the other devices coming in from the other brands. Because having said that, you still see notebooks growing exponentially. We still see netbooks growing. So we're in a market where all three segments are growing. It's just a matter of who's growing quicker, and at the moment it probably looks like the tablets are going to be the fastest growing segment for us.
What are you seeing in the smartphone market at the moment, Ashish, to change tack slightly? But there's obviously a lot of question marks in this market about what's going to happen with Blackberry. Has that affected your Blackberry sales at all?
Definitely. I mean, the Blackberries were hit. The fact is, for several weeks we weren't allowed to activate any new Blackberries from any of the telecom providers because they had told us with the upcoming ban we can't do that, just because customers have to tie into a monthly subscription, and both telecom providers knew that they couldn't commit to a monthly package in the long term, so they had asked us to discontinue that. So basically all we could sell was the hardware, and it's no good just having the hardware without the subscription to go along with it.
So what have you seen? Have the sales effectively stopped?
Well, the sales had slowed down on the Blackberries, but then we've seen the iPhone 4 come in the meantime, and I mean, this weekend we just sold out everywhere.
I was going to ask, what has been the winner if Blackberries haven't been selling? Is it just the iPhone people are buying? Are you seeing corporates looking to Nokia, to other makers?
Well, we've seen Nokia sort of make a resurgence as well. They've got the N8, which is coming out probably in about a week's time, we hope, over here. We're seeing a new E series from Nokia. We've seen Nokia really take stock again, and we've got Microsoft coming with Windows Mobile 7 in a couple of weeks as well. So you've seen the likes of HTC, who've been very strong on both the Android and the Microsoft platform, now coming out with a whole slew of devices as well.
And what have you done in terms of your orders for Blackberries? I mean, are you still ordering the handsets? What are you looking at going forward? Well,
I mean, it's unclear for us exactly in terms of how it goes. We have to work with both telecom operators, that is Doon Etisalat. We're working on advice from them at the moment. When they tell us all signals go, we go. And then we hope the supply chain's quick enough to meet demand at that time as well.
One of the fastest areas of growth in the hardware and apps market is that of e-book sales. Yeah. Sales in 2009 doubled that in 2008, and sales this year have already beaten 2009 levels. If you take away the 8 largest markets of the world, the rest of the world makes up 20% of the market. Now, put aside language restrictions, it's not that easy to download e-books in the UAE, for instance.
No, you can't.
For various reasons. I mean, how much do you think this total user experience here will restrict sales of, say, the e-reader, the Kindles, and the iPad 4 ebooks?
Well, I mean, the fact is you can get the Kindle app on the iPad but Amazon won't let you have the Kindle software for download in this region. So you do have restrictions like that which come in. Having said that,
I think I'm right in saying you can't download Amazon ebooks either here.
No, I mean
for anything, for any machine,
unless you set up a US account and then do it as a workaround. But you have got Sony launching an ebook reader over here at the moment. They will have a website where you can download the ebooks from directly. But I think these are things that are going to develop over the period. I think we hope companies like Apple start to take the region a little more seriously. So you don't, for example, have music downloads as easily available here as well if you want to. I mean, if you wanted to go on iTunes and download music over here with a UAE account, you can do that at the moment. But this hasn't stopped the iPods or the iPhones or the iPads from selling.
Finally, and very, very briefly, Ashish, has there been a change in the profile in your store visitors over the last 18 months or so?
Well, quite definitely. I mean, we haven't seen the flock of tourists that used to come in quite to the level that we used to once upon a time. The focus has been a lot more on the local residents, and we've had to sort of segment ourselves in two different ways. One has been for the value customer, because we have to understand the situation at the moment and the times that are there. A lot of it has been promotion-based marketing and sales. But then at the other end, you've got this high-end spectrum, which is sort of grown at the same time, which doesn't quite match the economic scenario. But you've got the iPads which sell, you've got the iPhones which sell, you've got the 3D TVs, the LED TVs, which have done actually quite well in this region, which are high-ticket items, which have still continued to do well.
Ashish Panjabi, the COO, the Chief Operating Officer at Jacky's Group of Companies, thank you very much.
Thank you.